Friends, gather round because we've got ourselves a brand spanking new law in the land of the free, and it's aimed at tackling a particularly nasty corner of the internet. On May 19, 2025, President Trump put pen to paper and signed the Take It Down Act into law, a piece of legislation with the ambitious goal of combating the non-consensual sharing of intimate images and those creepy AI-generated deepfakes. That's right, folks, revenge porn just got a whole lot riskier. This law isn't just some symbolic gesture either, it's got teeth. We're talking fines, we're talking prison time, we're talking the kind of consequences that might actually make someone think twice before hitting send on that compromising photo they shouldn't even have in the first place. But hold on to your hats, because this story gets even more interesting. Remember Melania? The First Lady herself? Well, she's been pretty quiet lately, focusing on her knitting projects and tending to her rose garden. But this issue got her fired up enough to dust off her Be Best initiative and throw her weight behind the bill. So buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to dive deep into the nitty-gritty of this new law, explore the surprising wave of support it's received, and unpack some of the concerns being raised by those who worry about its potential impact on our digital freedoms. Alright, let's break this down, shall we? The Take It Down Act basically says this: if you share an intimate image of someone without their consent, you're in a heap of trouble. And yes, that includes deepfakes, those AI-generated videos that can make anyone appear to be doing just about anything. The law doesn't mess around when it comes to enforcement either. Websites and social media platforms are now legally obligated to remove this kind of content within 48 hours of a victim reporting it. That's right, 48 hours. No more dragging their feet, no more hiding behind flimsy excuses. And who's going to make sure these tech giants actually follow through? None other than the Federal Trade Commission, those guardians of consumer protection. They'll be cracking the whip and dishing out some hefty fines to any platform that fails to comply. But wait, there's more. The Take It Down Act doesn't just punish those who share these images, it also goes after the creeps who threaten to do so. That's right, even if you just threaten to release those compromising photos, you could be facing some serious legal repercussions. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, John, but we're talking about Congress here. Surely they couldn't agree on something as straightforward as protecting people from online harassment. And normally you'd be right to be skeptical. But here's the kicker. This bill sailed through both the House and the Senate with overwhelming bipartisan support. That's right, even Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar managed to find some common ground on this one. And it's not just politicians jumping on the bandwagon. Even those tech giants who usually fight tooth and nail against any kind of regulation have lined up to voice their support. Meta, TikTok, Snapchat, they're all singing the praises of the Take It Down Act. Of course, they're quick to remind us that they were already doing a bang-up job of removing this kind of content. But hey, who are we to argue with a little bit of self-congratulation? So what's behind this sudden wave of unity and goodwill? Well, the truth is, this issue hits close to home for a lot of people. With the rise of AI-generated deepfakes, it's becoming increasingly easy for malicious actors to create and spread false and damaging content. And let's be honest, nobody wants to be the next victim of a viral deepfake scandal. Now, before we all break out the champagne and declare victory in the fight against online harassment, there are some concerns worth addressing. Digital rights groups, those valiant defenders of our online freedoms, have raised some valid points about the potential unintended consequences of the Take It Down Act. Their main worry is that the law's broad language and tight deadlines could lead to the removal of legitimate content. What happens, they ask, when someone falsely claims that a photo was shared without their consent? Could this law be used to silence dissenting voices or stifle free speech online? These are important questions, and it remains to be seen how the courts will interpret and enforce the Take It Down Act. Striking a balance between protecting victims of online abuse and safeguarding our digital rights is a delicate task, and one that will require ongoing vigilance and debate. But for now, let's acknowledge that the Take It Down Act represents a significant step forward in the fight against online harassment. It sends a clear message that non-consensual sharing of intimate images is unacceptable and will have consequences. And in a world where technology is constantly evolving and pushing the boundaries of what's possible, that's a message we all need to hear.